From dimensional overlords to mystical artifacts, there's enough magic in the MCU to power more than a civilization or two. Let's deep dive into every kind of magic we've seen. Asgardian magic. It's honestly better to describe this magic as a mix of the arcane and super science. Asgard is actually pretty renowned for empowering its technology through magic. Asgardians also don't see magic the same way Earthlings do. It's not some mystical force to them, but instead, an advanced field that they believe is a part of everybody. Everything, from their transportation, architecture, and even their healthcare, is powered through this blend of science and magic. Though, to Asgardians, it's the same. Still, some specific Asgardians have way more in their toolkit. Beings like Frigga, Heimdall, Loki, and Odin are all able to tap into way more magic than the usual soldier or civilian. Frigga and Loki have shown a lot of talent when it comes to illusions, for example. Then there's the Odin Force, which is most definitely mystical. It combines cosmic energy with the life force of its users, the kings of Asgard. Odin used it for basic energy projection, while Thor used it for controlling lightning and storms. Speaking of Odin, he's one of the most talented magic users in the history of the realm. He's even capable of taking away other people's party tricks, like what he did to Thor. That was pretty cool. Frigga, the Queen of Asgard, was the one who helped Loki grow into his own powers. And while we never really get to see her use her full arsenal, we do know that she had exceptional control over her powers. Loki describes her being able to do some pretty wacky stuff.
You know, when I was young, she'd do these little bits of magic for me. Turn a flower into a frog or cast fireworks over the water. And it all seemed impossible. But she told me that one day I'd be able to do it too, because I could do anything.
Due to both his training with his Asgardian family and his natural talent for it, Loki is one of the best magic users out there. We know of at least 2 of his powers.
No, they're 2 completely different powers, actually.
How?
Illusion projection involves depicting a detailed image from outside oneself which is perceptible in the external world, whereas duplication casting entails recreating an exact facsimile of one's own body in its present circumstance, which acts as a true holographic mirror of its molecular structure.
His title might make you think he's just a trickster, but he uses his magic in combat too, particularly to deceive his enemies and trap them. We've also seen him use an ancient Jotun relic, the Casket of Winters, although whether that's because of his inherent skill or his frost giant heritage is up to you guys. As far as Thor goes, he usually relies on his incredible mastery of hand-to-hand combat. When he does use magic, though, it's in the form of lightning blasts with Mjolnir or Stormbreaker. Thor's capable of a lot more than just simple blasts, though. He can literally control storms, lightning, basically anything that has to do with thunder. Asgardian magic seems to be very versatile and unique, and also really personalized. No 2 users seem to display the same kind of magic. Eldritch magic. This kind of magic is a lot less individually focused than the magic of Asgard. The masters of the mystic arts and their sorcery usually have a distinct yellowy-orange glow to it. This type of magic is unique, but its power depends on the user's training and talent. It takes many, many years for the masters of mystic arts to become powerful enough to cast spells. We've seen users do a lot of different things, from protective spells, energy projection, portals, illusions, and much more. With enough training, users can also gain the ability to astrally project themselves or others through their link to the astral plane. Yeah, that's the only time you're ever seeing the Hulk get put down with one hit. The Ancient One gives us a pretty trippy explanation of the fundamentals of Eldritch magic.
At the root of existence, mind and matter meet. Thoughts shape reality.
This kind of magic can also be used in combination with others, such as when the sorcerers of the Camartage formed a joint shield to hold off Wanda's attacks. We've seen smaller uses of protective magic like this too, in the many shields that Strange makes during his battles. Strange, specifically, seems to really like making tangible constructs out of his magic, but he showed us a lot more during his fight with Thanos. At the very least, the most impressive thing in this seems to be him transforming what looks like a black hole into butterflies? All in all, while it might not be the most powerful kind of magic in the multiverse, it's definitely up there in terms of practicality, seeing as how Endgame proves that an army of these guys is a pretty dangerous threat. Dark Dimension Magic. This is a really niche form of magic, which was banned by the Ancient One for pretty good reasons. Basically, by channeling energy from the Dark Dimension, you open yourself up to being influenced by Dormammu. In other words, you become a mindless one. These are basically non-sentient black sprites that are cursed to roam around the Dark Dimension for eternity. Now that you know why she banned it, what's really going to shock you is that the Ancient One herself used this magic to extend her lifespan.
It's our fear of death that gives Dormammu life. He feeds off it.
Like you feed off him, but I've seen the missing rituals from the Book of Cagliostro.
Measure your next words very carefully, Doctor.
Because you might not like them.
Because you may not know of what you speak.
What is he talking about?
She draws power from the Dark Dimension to stay alive. I've seen the rituals, worked them out. I know how you do.
Pretty ironic, right? But it's because she's used it herself that she understands the risks. There are, of course, benefits. Caecilius was granted power by Dormammu through this magic and became powerful enough to warp the reality around him. The Ancient One was able to bypass her physical limits and natural lifespan far beyond what a normal human or even a superpowered one would ever achieve on their own. Dormammu can empower users to incredible levels and make them functionally immortal, but it's kind of like steroids. The cost is rarely worth it, because once you become a mindless one, there really is no going back. Chaos Magic. Chaos magic is one of the rarest and most dangerous kinds of magic we've seen in the MCU. In WandaVision, Agatha Harkness straight up tells Wanda that she's a rare breed, a real one-of-a-kind witch.
Scarlet Witch is not born, she is forged. She has no coven, no need for incantation.
This kind of magic also seems to look different depending on who's using it. Wanda's chaos magic shows up as that red energy mixed with white and black, while her son Billy's magic shows up as blue. Wanda herself was already born with latent magical ability, but things really went off the rails after the Mind Stone amplified what was already inside her. There's also something weird going on at a cosmic level. Chaos magic produces something called CMBR, which is basically leftover radiation from the Big Bang. This is like real vintage magic. Wanda isn't truly in control at first. She taps into her power without even realizing it, unintentionally constructing an entire house, reshaping the town of Westview, and, on nothing more than a fleeting impulse, manifesting a new vision and their 2 children. That whole sitcom world? That's all her. Inside what they call the Hex, Wanda can reshape reality however she wants, changing objects, warping time, teleporting people, even messing with the elements. Chaos magic is also pretty unstable and volatile. It depends on the user's emotional state. When Wanda starts to lose control or has heightened emotions, the things in her house begin to change on their own. It's kind of like how symbiotes pick up on their host's emotions and react accordingly. That's kind of the core problem with chaos magic. It's insanely powerful, but it's also incredibly dangerous. Wanda can fully control the people closest to her, but near the edges of the Hex, people are barely conscious, stuck repeating the same motions over and over. We really see just how dangerous it can be during the siege of Camartage. Wanda levels the entire place, and the entire Masters of Mystic Arts don't seem to stand a real chance against her, even with Strange and Wong ganging up on her. Relic-based magic. Magic that relies on or is sealed in external objects, usually ancient relics, is often one of the most dangerous kinds of magic we've seen. Things like the Infinity Stones, the 10 Rings, the Darkhold, Gore's Necrosword, and the Eye of Agamotto are all pretty good examples. This kind of stuff is sealed within powerful objects for a reason. In its raw form, it's too dangerous to just exist out in the open. We've all seen what just holding or using an Infinity Stone can do to somebody, as well as what using the Darkhold does, even to people like Strange. It's important to note, though, that the Infinity Stones themselves aren't exactly magical objects in the same way that something like the Darkhold is. However, they do let you control the reality around you in a very similar way. Snapping away half the universe is a pretty mystical feat. They also often let you use magic far beyond what you would normally be capable of. Strange, using the Eye of Agamotto, kept Dormammu in a time loop that forced him to surrender. The Necrosword was capable of even communicating with and influencing Gore to use it, corrupting him and binding his life force to it. It was a sword powerful enough to slay any god that met it, which makes it an insanely overpowered weapon. The Darkhold is basically a user manual for forbidden magic, and it teaches you how to break the rules of reality, with techniques like dreamwalking being just one of its many secrets. However, just like the Necrosword, it really does a number on your mind, as we see with not only Wanda, but also Sinister Strange.
Yeah, believe me, I've been trying to leave this place for a long time. Darkhold.
Speaking of Strange, his Cloak of Levitation is another relic. It's not exactly as powerful as some of the heavy hitters we mentioned so far, but it's a really nifty one. It lets its user fly and levitate, as the name implies, but it also has a bit of a personality, and it seems to really like Doctor Strange, almost like a friend. Or a pet?
Stop.
Now, you have stuff that's a bit healthier, like the 10 Rings. These are one of the oldest and most dangerous power sources on Earth. They give their wielder superhuman strength, energy projection, and near immortality, which is how Wenwu was able to rule for 1,000 years. Witchcraft. Ever wonder where people like Agatha Harkness fit into all this? Their lane is witchcraft, and it's a bit different than the rest. It relies on runes and verbal incantations more heavily than other kinds of magic. Witches are capable of a lot. Agatha Harkness, for one, has an incredibly deep bag of magic, ranging from telekinesis to mental manipulation, and even turning other people's magic against them. Using her rune magic, Agatha Harkness also infused her house with a protection spell by placing runes within the structure. This lets her block Wanda's chaos magic abilities. Wanda also learned some witchcraft on her own, as she used a locator spell in order to track down America Chavez's location in Camartage, after Strange accidentally told her. We haven't seen a lot of users of witchcraft, so it's hard to get the full picture, but what we have seen is pretty incredible. Agatha, despite not having any chaos magic of her own, was able to match Wanda in terms of magic use, though this was before Maximoff truly became the Scarlet Witch. Necromancy. You didn't think we'd go through a video about magic without some good old-fashioned corpse reviving, did you? Necromancy is about what it sounds like. You bring the dead back to life, but not truly. The first time we see this is when in Thor Ragnarok, when Hela revives her entire army using a piece of the eternal flame. As powerful as it was, the reanimated corpses were just that, corpses. They were still mindless and didn't have the intelligence of a typical soldier, so Hela's army was probably stronger when they were really alive. It's important to note that the piece of the flame she took is what allowed her to do this. It's also not the only instance of the flame reviving a corpse. In the same film, we see it bring back Surtur too, although it completely restored the guy instead of just having him be a mindless head. Now that would really be ironic. No! Marvel has one of the most versatile power systems out there. Tech, science, mystical relics, and magic. So So many kinds of magic.